Well, how's it going? Finally, I corrected my video. Take a look in the background. Can you see the mirror? How far am I in the actual background? I'm miles away. That silver seems to show not only the reflection, but it shows the distance of the reflection, the true distance. Our eyes don't see well, okay? We don't walk right, okay? It's all wrong. Because the universe is on an angle, all the actual poles are slightly slanted. Obviously, there's more slant at one end than other ends, but because of the size, okay, the slant is minimal, okay? Let's say 22%, whatever the percentage is, you see 22% and it's 22.5%. See 22.5%, okay, 4 times, okay, creates the 45-degree angle. So if you do that 16 times in a day, you actually go around in a day in the circle of the Earth. Now looks round because of that difference, the 22.5 degrees, which in all actuality it's always 22.5 degrees, but when it starts off it seems like it's 0.025 degrees. But 22 is the 22nd letter of the alphabet, letter V, double V. I can tell you so many stories, what I have learned in the last, for those who take me seriously, for those who know that I can do what I am doing, whatever it is, I am finding things, and all my numbers repeat. In fact, even my designs, it's getting tough because I start off with a square. You take that square on square paper, and you see the lines continue. So continue one or two of the lines. Now attach the lines without breaking the square. Now the square doesn't work anymore, so what do? You have to go straight and then up. You cannot link the top part with the bottom part with now drawing a straight line and a cross, or the crossing angle, which creates the triangle. And what happens is these are how the wires go around the 5 spirit you see on the telephone. Okay, the 5 is in the center, the 7 is on the bottom left, and below it is the star. The star represents the heavens to connect to the yellow spirit, which is the power, which sends the red power of God into the energy cell of 5 gray. It's actually white. And it also turns orange. It sends the power in there, and the yellow and the red meeting together make an orange ring. Okay? And what happens now is, you see, although we have the 5 is the center core of everything, it's the 7 that sends it to 5. That sends it to 1, 3, and 9, and also to the sides. But it was 7 who created the 5. It is the 7 who owns the 5. Okay? The 7, okay, if you want to take a look, 2 things about the 7 and the 2. They're both the same person in all actuality. But in creation, you have to separate the home from the workplace. They're different names. So, this check mark, okay, you see it on the right? You ever see the one with the little mark on it, with the check on the bottom, or the part of the one? Okay, you see this over here. This check mark says, "I go into 7 and out of 8." He's going from God into heaven and into the 5 spirit. Or he goes from 5. Okay, 7 is in the corner with the 2 arrows. If he goes up, he catches. Okay, I wish I could write this down before you guys disappear on me. He catches here, I drew it out. You see the way the 8 catches that number on the right bottom, and the 7 catches it on the left top? Okay, that's God getting in from both ends. Okay, so that creates the check mark. Okay, now why I did that check mark is because that check mark is from God 7 over to the right into 8, up to the right into 6, and above it is the split, is the beta. She's always in 8. She's the creator of 8. That creates the 7286 of man. If you see in this picture here, it says 726 is there, and here I marked the 8 at the bottom. Okay, that's 7268, and that's the way God created. I have in one of my designs how God created the actual number 7 that everybody sees with a line in it. And obviously, if I go through my papers, I might find something. I don't have it here. I'll do it in a future video. What I was going to talk about here was the 1, 2, and 3 worlds. Okay. Okay. Now, how I'm going to say it here is we have 2 starting with a T. The W is of creation. The 3 starts with a T, which means the H of the heavens, R, birth in the E, electronic world. And we have T10, which is the E world of neutralization. The TEN is actually 19, is actually a 39 letter count, means creation of divine birth. Everything. Now we go over to 10, 20, and 30. 2, 3, and 10, 10, 20, 30. Okay? 10 is the E world neutralization. I guess that's us, because it means we've been neutralized. It means the egg and the sperm have gone together. And now the creation of the E world, which would mean the beta, which would mean the female, she's creating the heavens of the blue world. Now there's 3 is actually God, which is the total of the 3 worlds. 3 plus 2 plus 1 makes man 6. The 1 director, the God. In the center, the spirit, or call him God, that's 7. You add in the beta world, which is the outside world of God that has us in it, is 1. And the spirit world, which is outside God's world in our world, which makes 1. So it's 2 non-visuals to actually only 1 visual, because the 4 angels of man are the 4 angles of his life. You see, in every scenario, from being here on earth, my angle right now is my face in the screen, which is actually the 2 angle coming from the feeling of the 8 hearts, of the 5 hearts. Okay? But I'm not thinking with my heaven angle right now, because that's the V in my life between my legs. You see, have you ever taken a fruit before and seen what happens to a fruit? There's a line, okay, from some fruits from the bottom here all the way up. It's like man's ass, okay? The crack in the ass is because what happens, like I did in the previous video, is the egg is like this. Now, I'm not telling you how it works. I'm telling you how I think. Now, instead of the sperm, the sperm goes all around the egg, okay, and envelops the egg, but then that wouldn't make any penetration. So what happens is the egg goes into the center like this, and the sperm, if you notice, I'll use my cigarette, okay, the egg goes like this, and the egg, and that's the sperm, the cigarette's the sperm, and it folds in, and now you have it on the other side. You see? Now you have it on this side, now you have it on that side. So that's how the egg and the sperm would actually take place in a peach, as I see the design. It also must have taken place in our life, because the crack of our butt end and the longest part on our body is that vessel that releases the brown junk. And also when that brown junk is released, it's in a capsule. If it wasn't in a capsule, it would come all loose, there'd be something wrong with it. Everything that goes into you is in a capsule, and everything that goes out of you is in a capsule. Have you ever noticed how spirit works? Bless you. So when you sneeze, you can't speak. I guess there's some sort of a directive to spirits. When spirit hits the next one, you can't do nothing. That's why in craps, you throw 2 1s, you're gone. You throw in a 1 and a 2, you lose again, because 2 is the spirit of you. You're playing God's game when you get into craps. 7 7 7, you lose. 2 7 6 6 1 5 2. I have a lot of theories, a lot of hypotheses, okay, and I've calculated everything. I wish I can get it to you the best. But here's another novel on 7286, okay? 7286, if you add them together, it's 23. If you add up the first 2, okay, because you have to do it just like if you went to the horse track. You got to box them. You got to play quinillas. You got to play exactas. You got to play trifectas, superfectas. If there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I can play them all. I can play them even if there are 27 horses, the exacta, because I found how to do it. Tic-tac-toe, dot to dot. Find the empty space that is the center of all and connect the dots. Try and go outside tonight and look at the stars if you can see any. Okay? Find a central place for those stars and now connect the dots. What do you get? Now make your shape in between. What else is in the middle? You see, if I go from 1 to 10, you say 5. But if I say from 3 to 8, you say there's a 5 difference, so 2.5 each way. 3 to 5, 8 to 5, there's still a difference of 1. That must be the 1 spirit. That's how the planets work. If there's a difference in calculation between the planets, okay, it'll always have an answer. You see, if we leave out the two planets, Mercury and Venus, okay, they have no moons. So let's say their moons are already implicated in everything else. So let's start at 3. 3 Earth would be in a corner. 4 would be in the center. 5 would be on the right. Now you have what was the spirit before in the center, is now in the 3rd position on the right, 5, which means spirit of creation. Okay? Because the positions moves. They remain the same definition, but they bring that definition, the 5 spirit definition, now into the 3 corner. Okay? That's how it works. Now, I go planet 6, 7, 8 in the middle, which used to be 4, 5, 6. 6, 7, 8 mean the 4 corners of man, to the 7 God who is now the spirit, because the 3 earth became the 1 position. So 1 and 5 makes 6. Okay? And that center position is the 7 God. 7 and 1 makes the heavens. That's why the pool ball is yellow and full. I made a little boo-boo, okay? I'll make up for it. Okay? And in the last row, okay, after 6, 7, 8, you have 9 in God's position, because man, the God that's coming to earth, is the baby, because the baby answers to no one, and you serve on the baby, and you are a servant to the baby, and you are a slave to the baby. The reason for the slave is because that is the baby God. Therefore, the baby was a God. Now what happens after the baby? You get to the 1 and 2 again. Why the 1 and 2? Because the direction of the 7, which is the child, goes over to the 8, a straight tube, a straight line, okay, of wiring, and the baby is in the heaven of this world, okay, which is the 1 spirit. And in the 9th position, where was the 9, is now the 2 female, which means the mother had a child. The description of the bottom line totals 1 plus 2 plus 9 is a total of 12. Alpha beta, the union of alpha beta, the creation of the child in the 7th position. Okay. Now if you had 7, 8, and 9, is 24. Plus the 9 in the 7th position is 33. Plus 1 and 2, okay, equals 36. 3 is the creation. 6 is man, creation of man. So you've got the whole story. You see, I want to explain to you one thing. When you look at your keyboard, plain and simple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, don't look at anything else. That's where they are. But when you start taking these numbers and adding them and subtracting them, these numbers become the answer. Okay? Now I'm giving you the straight definition. 1 is 1. Whatever you think or think of 1 is 1. Okay? So now what I do is I give you the straight definitions of the primaries. 1, God's spirit is red. Beta is part of God. He created her in order to create the second world, to create a heaven. He can't create anything own into his to start with because of viruses in the yellow world and other worlds beyond. He has to have some control. Okay? 3 is the creation. It comes out blue because the creation is the blue world of man. 4 is the green world of light where man lives. 5 is the orange sun, which is created by the yellow world power of the universe, in which you have to remember that power is out there and we can use it. Why aren't we using it? If God hooked us up this way, he hooked up the beta world and he hooked up his world to the same yellow power. I know I designed it. And it's not because I designed it, but I designed it on square paper. And all my lines matched the way they were supposed to match. How do I know? Because of the sequences. And everything remains unknown, because if you don't take tic-tac-toe, nothing else will fit in the middle. Tic-tac and your toe, your big toe and your little toe. Both of them are spirits. That's why we wear the thongs as women, and we wear the thongs to the beach as anybody else. Another thing I wanted to say is, I know I'm off the beaten path, is, yes, so we get back to creation. That ends up showing creation. So that 9 in pool and the 3 in pool are both the color yellow. So that means the mother, okay, and the position 1 taking the 3 means the mother of the 3 earth. The 9 becomes the 3 earth. 9 and 3 again is 12. Beta's across from earth. 2 and 3 is 5, which means the spirit, which means 5. We're talking about Jupiter again. I do know what I'm talking about. I do not make anything up. You can question me and show me anything. I have a story for just about anything. And I bid you all well for tonight, and I'll come back with another one. I made a few miscues, but I'll get back with you if you ask the right question. Thank you.